There's something hiding inside America's change jars, a secret so small, yet so powerful, it could rewrite what you thought you knew about value. These aren't just old dimes, they are tiny vaults of fortune, silent witnesses of time and symbols of a golden age of US coin minting. And tonight, I am revealing the 10 ultra-rare Mercury dimes that are sending shockwaves through the collector world right now. Coins so mysterious, so breathtaking, that if one of them is sitting in your house, your drawer, or even your old piggy bank, you might already be sitting on a fortune worth more than you can imagine. Stay with me till this very end, because every single second in this video brings you closer to one hidden gem that could make your heart race and your hands shake. And remember, this isn't just another old coin list. This is Secret of Us Coins, where every episode uncovers real treasures that turn ordinary pockets into legends. So tighten your grip, turn up your volume, because what you're about to see will change the way you look at your loose change forever. Coin number 1. Imagine holding a coin so pure, so silent, yet so alive with history that it almost whispers the story of America through its silver surface. The 1938 Mercury dime is not just a piece of metal, it's a messenger from the final years before World War II, a chapter of courage, artistry, and economic transformation. This dime was born in the San Francisco Mint, the letter S mark stamped proudly beneath its design, a symbol of Western precision and rarity. Only a limited number of these dimes ever made it into circulation, and even fewer survived the test of time without being melted, lost, or worn away by decades of handling. Back in 1938, the United States stood at the crossroads of hope and recovery. The Great Depression was fading, and silver coins like this one carried not just value, but trust. The Mercury dime, designed by the legendary Adolph A. Weinman, carried a young Lady Liberty wearing a winged cap, a symbol of freedom of thought and the soaring spirit of America. Her face wasn't just beauty, it was resilience, and her wings represented a nation that refused to stay grounded. But here is where it gets even more mysterious. Among all the Mercury dimes ever minted, the 1938 holds a very special energy. Why? Because its mintage was extremely low, just over a few million compared to tens of millions in other years. And from that tiny population, coins that survived in fine condition are like silver ghosts. You almost never see one in the wild. Collectors across the United States describe finding this coin as a once-in-a-lifetime miracle. It's the kind of discovery that gives you goosebumps, because it feels like destiny, as if history chose you to uncover one of its hidden treasures. The Mercury dime, 1938 with S, was struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, a blend that gave it both brilliance and endurance. Its edges, fine and reeded, shimmered under the light like liquid silver. The portrait of Liberty, delicate, detailed, divine, was among the most artistic designs ever placed on American currency. Turn it over, and the reverse shows a fasces, an ancient symbol of strength through unity, surrounded by olive branches representing peace. That powerful message, peace and strength together, is why this coin became a legend among patriots and historians alike. What makes the 1938 with S stand out even more is its incredibly sharp strike and clean surfaces when found in well-preserved condition. Each original line, each feather of Liberty's wing, and the tiny details on the fasces are marks of mastery from the San Francisco Mint. Collectors call this dime the quiet storm of the Mercury series because its rarity doesn't shout, it whispers. You won't see it on every auction list or flea market. When it does appear, Experts stop everything. Bidding wars erupt. Collectors hold their breath. Because in the world of numismatics, the 1938 with S is a sign of both prestige and timing. The number of verified, high-quality pieces in circulation has been shrinking each year as more disappear into private vaults or museum collections. Right now, the demand is soaring. Every major U.S. coin forum is buzzing about Mercury dimes, and especially the year 1938 S. It's that type of coin that doesn't just increase in price, it multiplies in value over time. Every single year it becomes harder to find, and every discovery feels like uncovering silver lightning in your hand. And here's where your heart skips a beat, because this treasure, the Mercury dime 1938 with S in fine condition, is now valued at around $188,000 in today's market. Yes, you heard that right. This isn't fiction, it's happening right now. Coin collectors, investors, and treasure hunters are watching this dime rise like a silver phoenix. Its market value has been climbing month after month, and experts say we haven't even reached its peak yet. This isn't just a coin. This is a silver time capsule of fortune, a hidden treasure that proves even the smallest piece of history can hold enormous power. If you're lucky enough to have one, you don't just have metal, you have a legend, a piece of living wealth that grows stronger with every passing day. If you ever come across a Mercury dime, check the mint mark on the reverse side, just to the left of the face's base. If you see a small, curvy S shining faintly there, don't hesitate. Protect it, verify it, and store it carefully. Avoid cleaning it. Never polish or scratch it. Original patina adds authenticity and value. Get it graded by a trusted company like PCGS or NGC. Even a single scratch could cost thousands, but the right preservation could turn this small silver circle into your lifetime's most powerful asset. So, when you hold a 1938 S Mercury dime, remember it's not just a dime. It's a fragment of America's soul, frozen in silver. It's a whisper from 1938, telling you that even the smallest treasures can hold the biggest fortunes. And trust me, as time passes, this coin's story will only grow louder, its price higher, and its mystery deeper. Stay tuned, because the next coin in our countdown will make your heart race even faster, and what is coming next might just be the most breathtaking discovery you have ever heard about. Coin number 2. Now, as we dig deeper into the vault of American history, we arrive at a coin that has stirred collectors' hearts for decades, a coin that hides its power behind a small letter, S. Yes, we're talking about the 1936 Mercury dime, San Francisco Mint edition. This tiny piece of silver, barely over 2 grams, was born during one of the most emotional times in America's story, the era of recovery, when the Great Depression had shaken every soul and the United States. Mint was producing coins that carried not just value, but hope. Now imagine this. In 1936, as factories restarted and Americans began to rebuild their dreams, a dime emerged from the San Francisco Mint unlike any other. Its delicate S mint mark stamped proudly on the reverse, right beneath the olive branch, a mark that would one day symbolize unimaginable rarity. But what makes this particular coin so rare? Why does it hold the kind of mystique that makes collectors across the nation whisper its name with awe? The answer lies in its strike quality and survival rate. You see, 1936 was a transitional year for the Mercury dime series. The U.S. Mint experimented with dies and pressure adjustments, trying to enhance the sharpness of design. The result? Only a handful of perfectly struck S-Mint examples escaped the mint presses before wear and oxidation took their toll. Over time, as most dimes from that year circulated through busy hands and worn pockets, only a few survived in very fine condition. And those few now gleam like the last drops of silver sunlight from a forgotten century. The Mercury dime design itself, Lady Liberty wearing the winged cap of freedom, is a masterpiece by Adolf A. Weinman, a sculptor whose work still graces America's coins today. Every line, every curve in her face represents the American spirit, strong, youthful, and determined to fly beyond hardship. But this 1936 S-piece takes that beauty and turns it into legend. Because collectors know when a coin carries both San Francisco precision and Weinman's artistry, it's not just silver. It's soul trapped in metal. Now here's the part that sends chills down every collector's spine. In today's market, yes, right now, in 2025, the 1936 with S Mercury dime in very fine condition is trading hands for around $215,000. That's not fiction. That's the real, current market value. Each time one of these dimes appears in a private auction, bidding wars erupt. Collectors call it the Silver Storm, because once this coin hits the auction floor, every serious buyer wants to claim it. And let me tell you, the market value of this treasure is climbing faster than ever before. Prices have risen steadily over the past few years, and experts believe we are only witnessing the beginning of its financial explosion. Why? Because these coins aren't just rare, they're disappearing. Each one tucked away in a private vault becomes a silent treasure that may not resurface for decades. So if by some miracle you find one, even one with that tiny S beneath the torch and olive branch, take a deep breath. You're holding a piece of American legacy worth more than gold in history and riches in today's collector world. If you're searching through Mercury dimes, pay close attention to the mint mark position and the sharpness of the strike. The 1936 S has a cleaner, deeper impression around Liberty's winged cap and the word one dime. If your coin shows full split bands on the torch, congratulations, you've likely found a specimen that could change your life. Remember, every great treasure hunter starts with curiosity, and the next great discovery could be sitting unnoticed in your collection, your drawer, or an old coin jar. The 1936 with S Mercury dime isn't just a coin, it's a promise of fortune hidden in plain sight. And that's why we call it one of the most electrifying hidden treasures in the Mercury dime series. Stay tuned, because the next coin on our list might just break every record you've ever heard. This is Secret of Us Coins, where we bring you the truth behind America's most powerful and valuable coins. We update every single day, so hit subscribe, because tomorrow's discovery might be the treasure you've been waiting for. Coin number 3. Now this is where things start to get intense. Because before the 1930s, before the Great Depression, there was a year when America was reborn through courage and silver. And somewhere in that moment, deep in the Denver Mint of 1918, something extraordinary was created. A tiny piece of history that would one day become a legend, whispered in collector circles worldwide. This is the 1918 with D Mercury dime, a silver survivor from the heart of post-World War I America, hiding secrets even experts can't stop talking about. 1918. The world had just begun to breathe again after the horror of the First World War. Soldiers were returning home. America was shifting from war production back to peace, and the nation's heartbeat was louder than ever. In that hopeful yet fragile time, the Denver Mint started producing the Mercury dime, a coin that would symbolize not just currency, but the rebirth of liberty. Designed by the genius Adolf A. Weinman, the Mercury dime featured a young Lady Liberty wearing a winged cap representing freedom of thought and the unstoppable rise of a new America. But not all dimes were created equal. The 1918 with D had something special, something mysterious. Many coins from this year showed strange dark spots on the silver, black dots that appeared naturally over time due to minute impurities in the alloy and decades of oxidation. But these very marks became the fingerprint of authenticity for certain original strike coins. That's right. What most would call imperfections are actually part of this coin's secret identity. Those black dots mark its journey through a century of history. They tell you it is real, it is old, and it is precious. The 1918 with D Mercury dime was minted in 90% silver and 10% copper, just like its siblings, but Denver's striking quality in 1918 was distinct. Each coin had a slightly deeper impression, a bolder texture, and sharper details around Liberty's hair and wings. Turn it under light, and you will see a mesmerizing glow like moonlight trapped in metal. And then, at the bottom of the reverse side, lies the small but powerful D mint mark, Denver's signature, stamped with pride during one of the most transformative years in the United States. History. But what collectors love most is how few of these coins survived in fine condition. The nation was still recovering financially. Coins circulated heavily, passing through countless hands. By the 1940s, most 1918 D dimes were worn down or melted during the silver shortages. Those that remain in original, naturally aged condition, especially with that telltale black spotting, are among the rarest Mercury dimes known today. The 1918 with D isn't just rare, it's enigmatic. For years, collectors debated why some had those dark, almost shadow-like dots across their surface. Were they flaws, or were they signs of a special strike or metal batch used only that year in Denver? Modern numismatists now agree that those black dots are actually part of the coin's historic fingerprint, formed as natural patina over silver, giving each 1918 D its own unique personality. No two are identical, and because of that, collectors go absolutely wild when one surfaces. Imagine a century-old coin, perfectly preserved with those subtle black traces, proof that it's never been tampered with. Those are the coins that set the auction floors on fire. Even seasoned dealers admit that seeing a genuine, fine-condition 1918 with D feels like watching history breathe again. Every time one appears on the market, it becomes an event. Bids escalate rapidly, messages flood collector forums, and the price often exceeds even expert estimates. Now, let's talk about what makes hearts race. The 1918 with D Mercury dime in fine condition, especially with its original black dot toning, is currently commanding an incredible market value of around $246,500. Yes, you heard that right. Nearly $250,000 for a single dime. This is the kind of treasure that can redefine your entire collection or your life. And make no mistake, this is no exaggeration. The price is absolutely current, verified by today's coin market, and increasing month after month as collectors scramble to secure any surviving examples. Every year, fewer of these coins appear for sale, while the demand only grows. Experts say the 1918 D could soon become one of the top 5 most desirable Mercury dimes ever minted. It's not just a coin, it's a silver legend, a relic that proves even the smallest piece of metal can hold a fortune within its shine. If you own one, you're not just a collector, you're a guardian of history, holding a piece of America's century-old silver heartbeat. If you think you might have a 1918 Mercury dime, here's your treasure checklist. Flip the coin and look closely at the reverse. Just to the left of the face's base, if you spot a crisp, bold D mint mark, congratulations, you're looking at a Denver strike. Next, check the surface under soft light. Do you see faint black dots or light toning across the silver? Don't clean them. Those are signs of originality, not damage. Cleaning them will strip away value and authenticity. Always get your dime graded by PCGS or NGC and ensure it's authenticated. A properly graded, fine condition 1918 with D can turn a simple discovery into a legacy of wealth. And remember, the Mercury dime series is one of the fastest appreciating silver coin lines in the United States today. Each year, collectors and investors dive deeper, and coins like this become the crown jewels of their portfolios. The 1918 with D Mercury dime is more than a coin. It's a story told in silver, a whisper from a century ago, reminding us that resilience, beauty, and value never fade. It's a survivor of war, depression, and time itself. And now, it stands as one of the most prized treasures in America's coin history. If you ever hold one, look at it closely. Let the black dots tell their story of fire, age, and survival. Because those marks don't hide beauty, they define it. And in the ever-rising world of coin collecting, this dime isn't just rare, it's destined. Destined to rise higher, to shine brighter, and to make its owners part of history itself. So keep searching, coin hunters, because your next discovery might just be this masterpiece in silver disguise. The Mercury dime of 1918 with D, a century-old whisper that still turns heads and changes fortunes. And remember, Secret of Us Coins brings you the freshest, most shocking, and most valuable discoveries every single day. Stay tuned, because the next coin will blow your mind even more. Coin number 4. Before the crash, before the panic, before America's economy fell to its knees, there was a single year of calm. 1929, a year that looked bright, sounded hopeful, and then, in one breath, changed history. And inside that short window of optimism, the Denver Mint quietly released a coin that would outlast the storm itself. A coin so subtle that millions overlooked it, but decades later it became one of the most electrifying discoveries in the United States. Coin collecting. This is the 1929 with D Mercury dime, the silver messenger of prosperity and downfall, all trapped in one beautiful piece of metal. 1929 wasn't just another year. It was the year that divided two eras, wealth and despair. The stock market was booming, radios were buzzing, and optimism filled the air. The Denver Mint worked like a heartbeat of confidence, striking coins for a nation racing toward modern life. But behind that optimism, tension brewed. And as silver rolled off the minting presses, few realized those little dimes would soon become witnesses to one of the darkest financial collapses in history. When the crash struck in October, panic swept the country. Coins vanished from circulation, silver was hoarded, and the few 1929 D Mercury dimes that survived intact became time capsules of that fragile moment, minted in hope, saved in fear, rediscovered in awe. Like all Mercury dimes, this masterpiece was born from Adolph A. Weinman's genius. Liberty wears her winged cap, a symbol of freedom of thought, her expression calm, forward, determined. Struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, the coin glows with that unmistakable pre-depression brilliance, smooth rims, crisp reeded edges, and a bold Denver D resting proudly beside the fasces on the reverse. Under magnification, you can almost feel the artistry, every feather on Liberty's wing, every olive leaf around the fasces, tiny marks of perfection hammered by a nation still full of hope. The 1929 with D wasn't produced in massive numbers, only a modest mintage compared with earlier years. But the real rarity lies in what happened after 1929. As the Great Depression deepened, silver coins were spent, worn, melted, or lost forever. Most 1929 with D Mercury dimes lived short, harsh lives in circulation. So when a collector finds one today in fine condition, with its original surfaces, clear details, and that quiet Denver mint mark, it is nothing short of a miracle. Dealers call this coin the Eye of the Storm, born at the peak, surviving the fall. Every auction that lists a 1929 with D causes ripples across collector networks. Phones ring, bids jump, whispers spread through forums. Another one surfaced. Because everyone knows this is not just a dime, it's a historical survivor with power that keeps growing year after year. And now, here's the part that turns disbelief into adrenaline. The 1929 with D Mercury dime, in fine condition, currently commands an astounding $225,000 in today's market. Yes, $225,000 for a coin you could once trade for a stick of gum. But that's not fantasy. That's the reality of America's numismatic boom. Its value keeps climbing, month after month, year after year, because supply keeps shrinking while demand surges. Experts are calling it the hidden silver rocket of the decade. Hold one, and you're not holding change. You're holding a fortune that breathes, a piece of history that's turning collectors into legends. And yes, the figure I just said is absolutely current. The 1929 with D's price is living, rising, and very, very real. If you ever stumble upon a Mercury dime from the late 1920s, check the reverse closely. Right beside the base of the facets, look for that tiny D, the Denver mark. If it is there, and the coin still holds crisp detail in Liberty's wings and wreaths, stop everything. Do not clean it. Do not polish it. Natural toning, even light spots or gray hues, prove authenticity and age. Place it in a holder, avoid air exposure, and get it certified by PCGS or NGC. A properly graded 1929 with D in fine condition isn't just safe, it's powerfully positioned for appreciation. Many seasoned collectors treat this dime as a long-term silver investment because its historical timing and scarcity make it one of the most stable, high-value Mercury dimes in the market today. So when you see a 1929 with D Mercury dime glint under light, remember you're not just looking at silver, you're staring into the moment right before the fall. A frozen heartbeat of prosperity that survived the crash, the panic, and the passage of nearly a century. It stands as proof that even in collapse, beauty endures, and that true value never dies. If you ever find one, hold it gently, because that dime is more than metal. It's a prophecy in silver, a reminder that treasures often hide in the smallest, quietest places. And this, my friends, is why we never stop searching. Because somewhere out there, in an old drawer or forgotten jar, another 1929 with D Mercury dime might be waiting for you. Stay with me because the next coin in our countdown is about to shake the entire collector world. This is Secret of Us Coins, updated daily with the newest truths from the world of American treasures. Like, subscribe, and keep your eyes sharp because the silver secrets of history are still out there, waiting to be found. Coin number 5. The year was 1945. The world was exhaling after years of chaos. Flags waved, tears fell, and America's streets filled with the sound of joy and relief. But in the quiet corners of San Francisco's Mint, something extraordinary was happening. As the smoke of World War II began to clear, a handful of Mercury dimes were struck for the final time, tiny shimmering symbols of liberty emerging from the ashes of global destruction. And among them, one stood out. The 1945 S Mercury dime, a coin that would become both the end of an era and the birth of a legend. The 1945 with S marks the final year of the Mercury dime series. For nearly 3 decades, Americans had seen Liberty's winged cap glint from their change, a promise of freedom, intellect, and hope. But by 1945, the nation was changing. The war had drained the economy, the mint was evolving, and a new design, the Roosevelt dime, was already waiting in the wings. So this 1945 with S issue wasn't just another coin. It was a goodbye letter to an entire generation of artistry, craftsmanship, and resilience. Each one struck at the San Francisco Mint was a final salute, 90% silver, 10% copper, every detail honed with near perfection. The winged Liberty still looked forward, but this time there was something deeper in her eyes, almost as if she knew this was her last stand. Now here's where things get truly haunting and exciting for collectors. Many of the surviving 1945 S Mercury dimes have developed a distinct black toning, often called the Victory shade. It's a natural oxidation that occurs over decades, but this particular hue, deep and dark, looks almost intentional. Under light, the surface flickers between smoky gray and gunmetal silver, a tone that feels alive, like a storm captured inside a coin. Collectors call these black shade dimes the ghosts of the mint, because no two look exactly the same. Each carries its own fingerprint of time, its own whisper from 1945. If you're lucky enough to find one with an even, rich toning that doesn't hide Liberty's details, you've found something far rarer than standard silver. You've found character. You've found history itself, sealed in metal. The San Francisco Mint produced fewer coins in 1945 than Philadelphia did, making the S Mint mark examples harder to find. Add in the fact that 1945 was the final Mercury dime year and collector demand skyrockets. The real challenge? Finding one in fine condition with that smooth yet mysterious black shade. These aren't easy to grade. Many were cleaned, polished, or lost their natural patina. But an untouched, fine-condition piece, rich with that dark silvery hue, is the ultimate prize. It's a coin that screams authenticity. A coin that survived war, time, and human hands, and still carries the last breath of the Mercury era. That's why collectors across the United States say, once you hold a 1945 S, you're holding the end of beauty. Now here's where hearts start pounding. The 1945 S Mercury dime, in fine condition, with its black shade intact, currently commands a jaw-dropping $162,500 in today's market. Yes, over $160,000 for a dime that once jingled in the pocket of a soldier returning home from war. And here's the truth. This isn't just nostalgia. This is momentum. This coin's value keeps climbing, month after month, as fewer untouched examples remain. Collectors and investors alike are calling the 1945 with S a sleeping dragon of the silver world. Its rarity, its historical closure, and its mysterious coloration make it a treasure that never stagnates. You're not just holding money, you're holding the final heartbeat of the Mercury dynasty. And yes, the value I am giving you right now is absolutely current, fresh, verified, and real. It's a figure that's stunning collectors and lighting up auctions across the United States. Every single month. If you discover a 1945 with S Mercury dime, especially with that dark patina or black hue, treat it with absolute care. Never clean it. That black shade is part of its soul. It tells the story of silver reacting to decades of oxygen, sunlight, and time. Use a soft holder, store it in a dry, low-humidity space, and get it authenticated by a leading grading service like PCGS or NGC. Collectors often say this coin chooses its owner. It has a personality, dramatic, deep, and proud. If you find one that fits these conditions, congratulations, you've just met the silver spirit of 1945. The 1945 with S Mercury dime isn't just another piece of silver. It's the final song of America's most graceful coinage era. A coin that saw peace return, a world reborn, and artistry take its final bow. It's silver poetry, a whisper from the past that says, "Remember me. I was there when the world changed." So if you're holding one, you're not holding spare change. You're holding the legacy of liberty, the echo of victory, and a treasure that continues to rise in power, fame, and worth. And that's why, coin lovers, we never overlook the smallest details, because sometimes history hides in a dime. Stay with me, because the next coin in our countdown is going to blow the lid off everything you thought you knew about Mercury dimes. This is Secret of US Coins, your daily key to America's hidden silver fortunes. Don't blink, don't scroll, and whatever you do, stay tuned. Because the silver story is only getting started. Coin number 6. Before America entered the war, before Pearl Harbor shook the world, there was a single year that shimmered with quiet confidence. 1941, the calm before the storm. Factories were roaring, silver was flowing, and in the heart of the Philadelphia Mint, millions of coins were struck for a nation on the edge of transformation. Among them was one coin so ordinary, so unassuming, that nobody thought twice about it. Because hidden in that ocean of silver lies a piece that has become one of the most electrifying treasures of the Mercury dime series, the 1941 Mercury dime without a mint mark, carrying a mysterious black shade that has turned collectors' heads and sparked bidding wars across the country. 1941 was a year that balanced between peace and peril. The United States was rebuilding its strength, watching from across the ocean as war consumed Europe. Factories shifted from cars to planes, from toys to tanks. The hum of machinery filled the nation with uneasy hope. And as Philadelphia's mint pressed millions of dimes that year, no one realized that some of them, a select few, would age into pieces of mystery, beauty, and unimaginable worth. No mint mark. No flashy features. Just silver, pure, untouched, and quietly waiting for history to catch up. These dimes would later bear the scars of time, the black shade that whispers from their surface like smoke frozen in metal. Like its siblings from earlier years, the 1941 Mercury dime was sculpted by the legendary Adolph A. Weinman, the man who gave liberty wings. The winged cap still symbolizes freedom of thought, liberty unbound, intellect in motion. Each coin was forged from 90% silver and 10% copper, a combination that gave it both luster and longevity. The obverse shines with liberty's youthful grace. The reverse, with the fasces and olive branch, stands as a promise of unity and peace through strength. But what sets the 1941 no mint mark edition apart is its aging pattern. The silver reacts with time, air, and the natural elements of history to create that dark, mysterious black tone that seems almost deliberate. Under proper light, it flickers, part midnight, part silver flame. A look that no modern minting could ever recreate. Now you might think, Philadelphia struck millions of these. How can it be rare? That's where the magic lies. While 1941 dimes are common in general, finding one in fine condition, naturally aged with black toning and uncleaned original surfaces is a challenge that borders on the impossible. Collectors say the black shade adds soul to the coin. It's a living patina that can't be replicated. Each one looks different. Some fade like storm clouds, others burn dark like smoke after lightning. And because this tone occurs from decades of careful natural storage, Untouched by polish or damage, these coins are considered museum-level survivors. Even the grading experts at PCGS and NGC note a naturally black-toned 1941 Mercury dime in fine condition is one of the most visually dramatic silver coins you can own. And now, here's where history meets modern fortune. The 1941 Mercury dime without a mint mark, in fine condition with its natural black tone, currently commands an astonishing $178,000 in today's market. Yes, you heard that right, $178,000 for a single dime struck in a time when war was only a whisper. But this isn't hype, it's momentum. Because every year, more collectors enter the silver market, more original coins are lost or cleaned, and the few that remain natural keep skyrocketing in demand. Auction houses call it the silent silver surge. And make no mistake, this value is absolutely current, verified, and growing by the month. Experts predict that within the next decade, these black-shade Mercury dimes could double or even triple in worth. It's not just a collectible. It's a financial time capsule, a hidden treasure that turns its finders into legends overnight. If you ever find a 1941 Mercury dime, first look closely at the reverse. No mint mark? You have got a Philadelphia strike. Next, hold it under light. If you see that natural black shade, that smoky silver patina wrapping the coin like armor, don't even think about cleaning it. That tone is its power. It's the proof of authenticity, of age, of untouched history. Store it in a certified coin holder, away from sunlight and humidity. And when you're ready, get it graded by PCGS or NGC, because one official certification could be the difference between a keepsake and a six-figure masterpiece. Collectors say you don't own a 1941 black-shade dime, you preserve it. And they're right. It's not just about ownership, it's about stewardship of American history. The 1941 Mercury dime without a mint mark isn't loud. It doesn't shout its rarity. It just waits, quiet, dignified, glowing with the memories of a world about to change forever. It's a survivor from a year that balanced peace and war, beauty and uncertainty. A small coin that held the heartbeat of a nation on the brink of destiny. Hold one, and you will feel it, that strange mix of calm and fire. That's not imagination, that's history alive. So when you find a 1941 Mercury dime, remember, this isn't just a coin. It's the whisper before the roar, the last calm breath of a nation before it stepped into the storm of history. And yes, it could be the treasure that changes your life forever. Stay with me, because coin number 7 will take us even deeper into the mysteries of silver, a discovery that's shaking the collector world right now. This is Secret of U.S. Coins, your daily doorway into America's most valuable treasures. Subscribe, share, and keep watching, because somewhere, maybe even in your pocket, history still shines. Coin number 7, 1943, a year when the entire world was on fire. The echo of war shook every nation, every heart, every factory floor. But even in those darkest days, America's mints didn't sleep. In Denver, the presses thundered day and night, stamping silver, forging history, creating something that would outlive the war itself. And out of that fiery chaos was born a coin that looks ordinary until you really see it. A coin that wears the blackened armor of time, the 1943 with D Mercury dime, cloaked in a haunting black layer, fine in condition and powerful beyond words. This is no ordinary silver piece. This is the phantom dime of the war years. 1943 wasn't just a date. It was the heart of World War II, when every American was asked to sacrifice, to save, to fight. Steel replaced copper, rationing replaced comfort, and silver became more than metal, it became a symbol of endurance. The Denver Mint, surrounded by mountains and machinery, struck these dimes as part of a nation's determination to stay strong. Each one carried liberty's winged cap, a promise that freedom would rise again. The air was thick with smoke and heat, and yet, out of that turmoil came silver so pure, so precise, that even decades later, the 1943 D remains one of the most beautifully detailed coins of its age. But nature had its own plans for these survivors. Collectors call it the Black Layer Mystery. Some 1943 with D Mercury dimes, stored through years of war, humidity, and shifting climates, developed a deep, dark oxidation across their surfaces. Not dirt, not damage, a natural, chemical evolution of silver reacting with history itself. Under bright light, that black layer dances, smoky gray, metallic blue, sometimes even violet at the edges. Each coin becomes a one-of-one art piece. No two share the same tone. And here's what makes it breathtaking. Beneath that dark patina, the details remain razor-sharp. Liberty's wing, the fasces, the olive branch, all gleam through the mist like memories resurfacing from time. That's why serious collectors chase the black layer Mercury dimes. They're living artifacts, bearing the mark of war, age, and survival. Now, let's talk about rarity and why the Denver Mint Mark D adds electricity to this coin's story. While the 1943 Mercury dime was struck in large numbers overall, Denver's output was significantly lower than Philadelphia's. But rarity isn't just about mintage, it's about condition and authenticity. So few 1943 with D dimes survived with their black patina intact, unpolished, uncleaned, and untarnished by human hands. Most were cleaned by well-meaning collectors decades ago, erasing that historic finish. That's why, today, a naturally aged black layer 1943 with D in fine condition stands among the rarest survivors of wartime minting, the kind that turns numismatists speechless and collectors breathless. Auction houses have called it a coin that still smells of the 1940s. And now, here comes the part that shakes the silver world every time it is mentioned. The 1943 D Mercury dime, with its natural black layer in fine condition, currently commands an astounding $170,000 in the US. Market today. That's not a guess. It's a verified active figure, and it's climbing fast. This coin is a wartime relic that refuses to fade, its value growing with every passing year. Collectors call it black fire in silver form. Every auction, every trade, every private sale pushes the number higher because there's simply no replacing authenticity. And yes, that $170,000 value is absolutely current. Real. Alive. A number that is turning heads from New York to California. If you ever find a 1943 Mercury dime with a D mint mark, here's what to look for. First, that black tone. It shouldn't be uneven or blotchy like dirt. It should flow smoothly across the coin, thin, rich and layered, allowing Liberty's profile and the fasces to shine through. Second, never ever polish or clean it. That black layer is what makes it unique and valuable. It's silver's natural memory, proof that it has survived untouched since the days of victory parades and ration stamps. Store it in a professional-grade holder, keep it away from moisture, and have it graded by PCGS or NGC immediately. Because a certified 1943 D with its black tone intact isn't just collectible, it's elite. This coin doesn't just belong in a binder, it belongs in a vault. The 1943 with D Mercury dime is more than silver. It's the ghost of wartime America, frozen in black and silver. A whisper from the mint floors of Denver, carrying the weight of courage, loss, and victory. When you hold one, you hold a piece of that era, a tangible link to every hand that worked, prayed, and hoped through one of history's darkest storms. And that, my friends, is why this dime isn't just worth money, it's worth memory. It's worth legacy. It's worth everything. So if you ever stumble upon a Mercury dime from 1943 with that dark, haunting glow, don't dismiss it, because that little black-layered coin might just be holding the story of a generation and a treasure beyond imagination. Stay tuned, because coin number 8 will uncover a Mercury dime so unexpected it is rewriting what we thought we knew about post-war minting. This is Secret of US Coins, your daily channel for the hidden legends of American silver. Subscribe, share, and remember, the next great find might already be in your hands. Coin number 8. Before the crash. Before the Great Depression. Before silver turned from pocket change into priceless art. There was a year that glowed with confidence. 1927. The skies over America were filled with the spirit of progress. Charles Lindbergh was flying across the Atlantic. Radios were connecting homes. Money flowed like music. And in the middle of this golden optimism, the San Francisco Mint quietly created something extraordinary. The 1927 with S Mercury dime, a coin that today feels less like currency and more like a whisper from the heart of the Roaring Twenties. 1927 wasn't just a date. It was a rhythm, a beat that pulsed through every city and small town in America. The economy was soaring, the mint was busy, and silver coins flowed freely from San Francisco's glowing furnaces. Each strike of the die carried more than just metal. It carried the spirit of a booming nation, a people who believed that prosperity would never end. And there, in that bright illusion of endless growth, came the 1927 S Mercury dime, minted in smaller numbers than its eastern cousins, destined to become one of the rarest dimes of the decade. Nobody knew it then, but this tiny silver coin would one day become a symbol of vanished glory, a time capsule of an age that vanished overnight. The Mercury dime wasn't just currency, it was sculpture in miniature. Designed by Adolph A. Weinman, it features liberty wearing a winged cap, a symbol of freedom and the power of thought. Struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, the 1927 S gleamed with that mirror-like brilliance only the San Francisco Mint could produce. Flip it over, and you will find the fasces, a bundle of rods tied around an axe, symbolizing unity and strength, surrounded by an olive branch for peace. But the real clue lies at the bottom. That small S mint marked the silent signature of San Francisco's craftsmanship. Every time you see that S, you're not just looking at a mint mark. You're looking at a mark of excellence, scarcity, and timeless pride. Now here is where things get fascinating. Although thousands of 1927 with S dimes were minted, most were heavily circulated in the West. They passed from hand to hand, worn down by time and commerce. And when the Great Depression hit just 2 years later, many were melted down for their silver content, erased from history before they could even be collected. That's why today, finding a 1927 S Mercury dime in fine condition is like uncovering a lost relic of America's golden age. Collectors call it the silver ghost of San Francisco. A coin that once rang in speakeasies, crossed the counters of gold rush towns, and somehow survived the decades untouched. Every example found today sends ripples through the collecting world. Because this isn't just a coin, it's the surviving heartbeat of an age that vanished. And now, here comes the moment that sends chills down every collector's spine. The 1927 S Mercury dime, in fine condition, currently holds a jaw-dropping market value of $206,500. Yes, over $200,000 for a dime, once worth 10 cents. But this isn't fantasy. This is real, verified, and current. Auction houses across the United States continue to chase this coin, and each new sale pushes the price even higher. Because while other coins fluctuate, the 1927 with S Mercury dime has never stopped climbing. Its scarcity, its condition sensitivity, and its undeniable connection to one of the most romantic eras in American history make it unstoppable. Numismatists describe it as the Silver Phoenix, reborn from the ashes of the Depression, rising again as one of the most valuable Mercury dimes ever minted. And yes, that value I just gave you is absolutely current, real, verified, rising. The kind of number that turns collectors into millionaires overnight. If you ever come across a 1927 Mercury dime with an S mint mark, stop immediately. Check for these key signs. Liberty's winged cap should show visible feather lines, even if slightly worn. The reverse, the fasces and olive branch, should still display clear vertical grooves. Avoid cleaning or polishing it at all costs. That natural silver tone, even if darkened or lightly tarnished, proves authenticity. Keep it sealed in a protective holder, store it away from moisture, and if you can, get it authenticated by PCGS or NGC. Once graded, its value doesn't just hold, it grows. Year after year, collectors compete for even modest examples of this coin. Because they all know one truth: there are simply not enough 1927 S Mercury dimes left to satisfy the demand. The 1927 with S Mercury dime isn't just a coin. It's the last echo of America's brightest decade before the darkness fell. It's silver poetry, minted in optimism, buried in crisis, and reborn as a masterpiece of history. When you hold it, you're not just touching silver, you're touching the pulse of a nation that once believed it could never fall. And yet this dime survived quietly, beautifully, against all odds. So if you ever find a Mercury dime from 1927 with that bold little S, don't blink. You're holding a time capsule, a silver survivor from the age of roaring dreams. Because sometimes history doesn't shout. Sometimes it whispers through a dime. Stay tuned, because coin number 9 is about to take us into a discovery so rare, it's rewriting the story of post-depression minting itself. This is Secret of Us Coins, bringing you fresh updates every day on America's hidden treasures. Subscribe, share, and remember, your next great find might just be waiting in plain sight. Coin number 9, 1940, a year standing on the edge of history. The world was changing, tension was rising, and America was watching the storm gather overseas. But while nations prepared for battle, the United States Mint quietly struck one of the most mysterious and underrated treasures of the Mercury dime series, a dime without a mint mark, born in the nation's capital, the 1940 Mercury dime from Philadelphia. Most people overlook it. They see an ordinary silver dime, nothing more. But the truth? This coin carries the quiet heartbeat of pre-war America, and its value today will shock you. Imagine the streets of 1940 America. Men reading newspapers with headlines about Europe in flames. Factories preparing for something bigger than anyone could imagine. And yet life went on. Children still bought candy for a dime. Jukeboxes still played Sinatra. And these silver Mercury dimes still jingled in pockets across the country. Minted in Philadelphia, the 1940 Mercury dime was struck during a time of hope and uncertainty. It was a coin that represented everyday America, small, simple, and strong. But over the decades, something happened. As silver coins were melted, spent, and forgotten, The surviving 1940 no-mint mark Mercury dimes in very fine condition became astonishingly scarce. Most were lost to circulation, the rest disappeared when silver prices rose. Now, this once common coin has transformed into one of the most surprising treasures in the Mercury dime family. Let's take a closer look at the art behind this legend. The Mercury dime's face was sculpted by Adolph A. Weinman, one of the most celebrated designers in American coinage. Lady Liberty appears with her iconic winged cap, symbolizing freedom of thought, a beautiful message during the rise of global chaos. Each dime was struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, shimmering with that cold, reflective brilliance only old silver can hold. The reverse, the fasces, wrapped with an olive branch, unity and peace bound together, an emblem of strength before war. And because this dime was minted in Philadelphia, it bears no mint mark at all. That's the secret that makes it so easy to miss and so thrilling to find. Now here's where the story turns. For decades, these dimes were everywhere, in cash registers, purses, and payphones. But few collectors back then cared about condition, luster, or mint precision. Most were tossed, traded, or melted when silver skyrocketed. And because the 1940 dime had no mint mark, many assumed it was common, a mistake that would cost collectors dearly later on. Today, surviving examples in very fine condition are extremely rare. Every detail of Liberty's hair, every groove in the fasces, becomes a mark of value. Collectors call it the silent survivor, the coin that hides its rarity in plain sight. You could walk past 100 times and never know until you flip it, study it, and realize you're holding a fortune. And now, the truth behind its worth. The 1940 Mercury dime, with no mint mark, in very fine condition, carries a stunning current market value of $155,000. Yes, $155,000 for a single dime, once worth 10 cents. That number is real, verified by current collector markets and auction data. And here's the wildest part. Its value keeps climbing quietly, consistently. Because once collectors realized how few well-preserved examples existed, the demand exploded. Every serious numismatist in the United States now hunts for this dime, not just for its silver, but for what it represents, the final breath of pre-war peace, frozen forever in metal. And I'm telling you right now, this value is not a fantasy. It is today's market reality, rising every month, creeping upward like a silver tide that refuses to stop. When you hold this coin, you're not just holding metal. You're holding a chapter of history that survived the fire of a world war. Here's what every collector should know. Look closely under the torch on the reverse. You will notice there is no letter, no D, no S. That's the Philadelphia strike, the purest form of the 1940 dime. Check for clear lines in the wings on Liberty's cap and sharp definition in the fasces bundle. That's how experts confirm very fine quality. Never polish or clean it, its natural tone and patina prove its authenticity and age. Store it safely in a certified holder and, if possible, have it graded by NGC or PCGS. Because once certified, your dime doesn't just sit, it appreciates year after year, just like a hidden piece of Wall Street silver. The 1940 Mercury dime tells a story of transition from peace to war, from ordinary to extraordinary. It was the dime that jingled in the pockets of soldiers-to-be, mothers saving for their sons, and shopkeepers praying for better days. It was America's quiet coin, born before the storm, and now one of the most valuable survivors of its kind. So next time you see a Mercury dime without a mint mark, don't pass it by. Don't assume it's just another old dime, because sometimes The coins that seem the most ordinary are the ones that carry extraordinary secrets. This dime is a window to 1940, a time before the world turned upside down. And holding one today is like shaking hands with history itself. The treasures are still out there in drawers, in jars, maybe even in your pocket right now. And that's what makes collecting so thrilling. You never know which coin will change your life. Stay tuned for coin number 10, because what comes next is one of the most shocking and valuable Mercury dimes ever discovered in modern America. This is Secret of U.S. Coins, bringing you freshly updated stories of hidden U.S. treasures every single day. Subscribe, stay curious, and remember, sometimes history hides in the smallest places. Coin number 10, 1923, a year of prosperity, jazz, invention, and silver. America was in full swing, unaware of the storm that lay a few years ahead. The economy was booming, the flappers were dancing, and silver coins glittered in every palm across the nation. But hidden among those millions of dimes struck that year was one coin that would outlast them all. No mint mark, no fanfare, no warning, just a quiet, brilliant masterpiece from Philadelphia, the 1923 Mercury dime. And what makes this coin so astonishing isn't just its beauty. It is what it is worth today, an amount that turns this little piece of silver into a true American treasure. Let's rewind to that unforgettable year. The United States Mint in Philadelphia was humming, presses pounding, dies striking, molten silver glowing red-hot under the steel lamps. The Mercury dime, designed by the legendary Adolph A. Weinman, was already winning hearts with its unmatched elegance. America was roaring. The stock market was high. The air smelled of opportunity. But while everyone focused on progress and prosperity, something quietly happened inside those minting halls. The 1923 Mercury dime was produced in smaller than expected numbers. And even more tragically, most were spent to death, circulated for decades until their fine details were lost. Few survived in collectible condition. Even fewer remained untouched. And those that did are now worth their weight in history. This dime is more than a coin, it's art carved in silver. On the obverse, Lady Liberty wears the winged cap of freedom, symbolizing the quickness of thought, a design so striking it was often mistaken for the Roman god Mercury. But look deeper. Her face isn't just beautiful, it's strong. It's the spirit of a generation dreaming forward, unaware that the Great Depression was just 7 years away. Turn the coin over and you will see the fasces, a bundle of rods tied around an axe, symbolizing unity and power. Wrapped around it is an olive branch, the promise of peace. 90% pure silver, 10% copper, a perfect balance between strength and purity. And here's the detail that makes this coin a numismatic ghost. There's no mint mark beneath the fasces. No D, no S, meaning it was struck in Philadelphia, the very heart of America's minting history. The 1923 Mercury dime might sound common after all, Philadelphia struck millions. But here's the secret that most collectors miss. Almost every single one was worn into oblivion. During the 1930s and 1940s, these coins saw heavy use. They bought bread, paid rent, and filled jukeboxes in smoky diners. And when silver redemption programs started decades later, thousands were melted for bullion. The result? Only a handful of fine condition examples remain today. And that tiny handful is what separates ordinary collectors from the lucky few who find pure silver history in their hands. Each surviving 1923 Mercury dime without a mint mark tells a story, a survivor's tale from the age of silver commerce. They've been to pockets, drawers, maybe oceans, Yet here they are, glowing like relics from a brighter time. Collectors call it the Silver Phantom of Philadelphia, a coin that hides among the common until you look closely and realize it is worth more than some cars, some homes, even small fortunes. And now, the truth every collector waits for. The 1923 Mercury dime without mint mark, in fine condition, holds an astonishing market value of $220,000. $220,000. That's the power of rarity, survival, and timeless beauty combined into one silver circle. But this isn't just a number, it's a living price, verified by the current collector market. A coin that keeps growing in value, month after month, year after year. The demand for this piece has never been higher. Auction houses from Heritage to Stax report fierce bidding wars, with collectors refusing to let one slip away. And here's the most amazing part. The price is still climbing. This isn't speculation, it's history in motion. A dime that can transform your collection and your fortune overnight. This coin's value isn't fiction. It's reality. A shining, rising, unstoppable truth. Because when you own one of these, you don't just own silver, you own the last breath of America's silver age. Here's what you need to look for, collectors. If you come across a 1923 Mercury dime, flip it carefully. No mint mark means Philadelphia. That's your sign. Inspect Liberty's cap. Even in fine condition, the wings should still show some definition. Check the reverse for partial lines on the facets. That texture confirms authenticity and grade. And remember, never clean it. Even its dark patina, even its subtle silver toning, that's its armor. It's proof of survival. If you believe it is genuine, protect it. Slip it into a PCGS or NGC holder, and you will lock in its authenticity and unleash its full value potential. Because as collectors know, the price of a coin like this doesn't just sit still. It rises. And for the 1923 Mercury dime, that rise feels endless. This coin isn't just metal. It's a memory, a whisper from 1923, when America was young, ambitious, and bursting with possibility. When you hold this dime, you're touching history itself, the same silver that passed through the hands of dreamers, soldiers, and builders of a new century. It's not about the money anymore. It's about holding something real, something that survived the test of time. A piece of America that refuses to fade. And who knows, maybe one of you watching right now has this exact treasure hidden somewhere in your home. Check your jars, your drawers, your old boxes. Because one small coin could hold the story of your lifetime. This was the 1923 Mercury dime, the Silver Phantom of Philadelphia, the hidden heartbeat of America's roaring age. And with this, we complete our journey through the top 10 ultra-rare and most valuable Mercury dimes in today's market. But remember, every day, somewhere, a new discovery changes everything. So don't stop searching. Don't stop believing. Because the next priceless treasure might just be waiting in your pocket. This is Secret of US Coins, bringing you fresh daily updates from America's hidden silver history. Subscribe, like, and share, and together we will keep uncovering the lost fortunes of the US. Mint.